We begin with continuing coverage following a mid-air jet crash. It happened during the Gunfighters Air Show at the Mountain Home Air Force Base earlier today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Hunter Funk. 4 crew members are okay and stable tonight after safely ejecting from those jets and parachuting down to the ground. A spokesperson for Naval Air Force's U.S. Pacific Fleet says it happened about 12:10 this afternoon during an aerial demonstration of 2 Navy jets identified as EA-18G Growlers. The Mountain Home Police Department alerted the public that the event was officially canceled for the rest of the day and that the incident is now being investigated. The Air Force Base gunfighters released a statement saying, quote, "First and foremost, we are incredibly thankful that everyone involved in today's incident is safe," end quote. They go on to say thank you to the emergency response teams, guests, performers, and to the community. Well, while there are still many questions about what exactly caused the crash, an aviation expert is breaking down one key moment investigators will be watching closely. Cary Grant teaches aeronautical science in Washington and once trained Air Force pilots. Now, he says formation flying requires constant visual contact, especially from the pilot flying off of the lead. In the video of the crash, the planes appear to move toward and meet one another from above.
In order for those airplanes to come together like they did, one on top of the other, the wingman probably lost sight of his lead.
Now, Grant adds the video is just one piece of the puzzle. He says investigators will look for multiple factors because most crashes aren't caused by just one thing. Obviously a scary situation for those crew members, but also a scary situation for spectators, the families who all witnessed this happen as they were going to the event. KTVB's Christian Lopez, you were out there all day on scene figuring out what was going on. What did those witnesses tell you?
The biggest thing was they were just so relieved that those 4 crew members were okay. Obviously, it was a shock to witness this crash in person. There were families and kids out there. I interviewed 2 women who were at the event. I could not interview them in person because they were on lockdown for a few hours, and I talked to them just moments after this happened.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a big flash, and I look over, and immediately I see the 4 parachutes. I saw the planes like fly over, and then they were just out of sight. Once I saw the black smoke, I knew that there was something was wrong. Once everybody, I think when the boom happened, I looked and everybody's heads were turned. Some people started running towards the black smoke and what was going on in that general direction. Couple dozen people started running in that direction, but there's a lot of people here. So,
can you describe what you saw when you realized something was wrong?
Yeah, I watched them collide and saw the parachutes go out. Nobody really knew what to do. There was a lot of people freaking out, and so that was also a little bit scary.
What was your reaction to seeing that? Like, it probably didn't even feel real, right?
Yeah, it was like, I was like, oh my goodness, is this like actually happening? Because even though I saw them hit and saw the parachutes, I was like, is this like actually what's happening?
It took probably a good 20 minutes before they announced that all 4 pilots were accounted for and safe.
I'm happy that they're all okay.
And that lockdown was lifted a few hours after the crash. This also sparked a fire in the area, and I talked to officials on the scene. They were able to get it out quickly despite the windy conditions today.
Yeah, it was a tough one out there. Okay, so speaking of tough, how difficult was it for you to even get on the base? It sounds like you didn't quite get there, right?
The closest we could get was about 2 miles away from where that crash happened. We weren't able to get into the base. Even after that lockdown lifted and people were able to leave, we still couldn't get there. The closest was 2 miles away.
That's incredible. It is incredible. Thank you for covering the witnesses. We appreciate that too. All right, a heads up for drivers. The Owyhee County Sheriff's Office says Highway 167 at Simcoe Road will be closed for at least 3 days. Grandview residents will need to go to Mountain Home via Highway 51. Also, the main gate at the Mountain Home Air Force Base is now open to all inbound and outbound traffic. Traffic will still be detoured, and you will need to follow those designated routes once you exit the gate. For background on the aircraft involved in the crash today, the EA-18G Growler is one of the military's most advanced electronic warfare aircraft. Built off the FA-18 Super Hornet, the Growler's mission is to disrupt enemy radar and help protect pilots and crews during combat operations. Instead of relying only on weapons, it fights using technology and electronic signals as well. The first Growler test aircraft went into production in October 2004 and made its first flight in August 2006. The Growler has become a key part of modern military operations. These two Navy Growlers involved in the crash were assigned to the Electronic Attack Squadron 129 from Washington. And this crash marks the third time an incident has happened at an Idaho air show in the past 23 years. Now, back in 2003, the show was held in mid-September, and there, an Air Force Thunderbird went down. You just saw it there. Officials said the pilot ejected safely and was treated by military staff. The U.S. military reported no other injuries, but a scary scene in that one. Then in 2018, a glider pilot died during a routine performance. KTVB previously reported Colonel Joseph Kunkel, commander of the 366th Fighter Wing, said that pilot Dan Buchanan was doing an act he'd performed countless times. Well, there was quite a bit of smoke following the crash of the two aircraft, and strong winds did not help that situation, though good news to report that fire at the base has been contained. This is still a developing story, and we will be sure to continue to bring you the latest information tomorrow morning and, of course, on KTVB.com.